2010, PTC entered powerlifting after 3 years.
Before we do ProRaw, what we should do is how you actually got into powerlifting to begin with.
I'm not really into powerlifting.
So Spiros, your brother Spiros was competing.
Yeah.
Then how did PTC come about, and how did PTC then evolve to create ProRaw?
All right.
Do the whole thing.
I lifted weights because I played footy, so I just love lifting weights. Nina and I bought a gym called Expansions in Mentone in 1988, and we got the money from the bank, and the day we were meant to hand it over, the council closed Expansions down in Mentone. A lot of people don't know that. So we went back to the bank and said, the council have closed the gym down. And they said, just give us the $20,000 check back, and we just pretend it never happened. Yeah. So it was great. So we just gave them the check back and it never happened. 20 years later, except 2008, I was, previous business had gone into voluntary liquidation, and we were screwed. We didn't know what to do. So Nina suggested I was already training people, as you know, for free in the gym, because you were one of them. Yep. And people used to come and train at the gym. We used to have comps from 2006. Yep. And we made it a business in 2008, and that was how PTC started. But and in the early days, I actually used to write a newsletter. People remember the old PTC newsletters. Wrote about 200 or 300 of them. But in one of them, I don't know what number it is, if you guys can find it, I'd love to read it. I actually denounced powerlifting because we were training for strength and conditioning. And powerlifting is about moving the most weight over the shortest range of motion, not getting stronger. Everyone thinks it's about getting stronger. It's not. It's about moving more weight. If it's about getting stronger, we all do. No one does sumo deadlifts. We all do high bar squats. No one wears belts, right? So I actually
that was one of the original things with PTC. There was no wraps, there was no belts.
That's right. You weren't even allowed to bring a gym bag if you had a belt in it. Had to leave it outside. So it was about strength and conditioning. And we as the lifters, you guys, as you all got stronger, and we had Chris and Nick pulling 270 kilo deadlifts in their board shorts and barefoot. And there was a lot of, and Yovi was filming a lot of the lifts. And there was a lot of talk, people rubbishing our lifts, saying, well, they're not competition plates, we don't know what they weigh, because I just use whatever plates we had, right? Anyway, and they're not legit lifts. So we held a comp in the garage, that 2010 Australia Day comp. And on the next day, on the Monday, I got a phone call from ASADA in a garage. We weren't a federation or anything, right? We were just training in the garage, and they asked me about 2 lifters that competed in the comp. And I said, they lifted. They go, was it a powerlifting comp? I said, no, it was 5 lift, because we used to, include power clean and overhead. So it was bench, squat, deadlift, power clean and overhead. No 3 judges, just 1 judge. I'd say, good lift or bad lift. There was no pausing on the bench press. Hitching was allowed. It was just a fun gym meet. Anyway, they
also had strongman meets.
Yeah, all that stuff. It was fun, just a bunch of guys in the garage, all sleeping at my house. And the 2 lifters that they were asking about got banned from the PA because somebody from adopted them in, right? And at the time, there was a Capo president, Paul Ney, and he had been hounding me because he was aware of PTC. He'd been asking me to bring all my PTC lifters to powerlifting, official powerlifting, and I didn't want to. But then the coincidence of all the negative media we were getting on, it wasn't Facebook, it was on websites about our lifters not being legit and all that. And then what happened with this other fed, because I had been out of the sport 1991. Max was born in 92. I didn't even know, I was out of it. Nina did 1 comp in 2007. So I rang Paul Ney, I said, we're in. He goes, what? I said, we're in, Capo. So I think he had 48 lifters that he states. The previous year there was 12. Right? So he had 48 lifters, and proudly can say our PTC Frankston back then, we set 54 national records. Remembering Raw was only started the year before, so it was very, very, but they did well. We won every category except best team. We got second on best team. So they won open, men, women, masters, won every category. Now PTC was involved in powerlifting. Straight after that happened, the Frankston Dolphins asked me to come. So we went and did nationals, okay? And we did well, and Max qualified for Worlds, and we went to Worlds. In between all that happening, so I got a letter. Simon Goosey from the Dolphins asked me to take me and Max, Dolphins Football Club,
which is a VFL club.
VFL club,
VFL, and a very, very good VFL.
We went across, and they asked us to be strength and conditioning coaches, so we did that. But just before we did that, we'd gone to America, and Max had just done nationals, and he had to beat, so in the teen 82.5 kilo class, there were 6 boys. Just the teen, it was great. Powerlifting was thriving. The other PTCs had jumped on board with, there were no other PTCs, sorry. But everybody that was following me via the newsletters and on, there was a ProRaw forum and an Aussie Barbell forum. They all came across and did nationals that year. I know Scott Wasson came down from Queensland, Michael Brooks competed. A lot of people came down and did the Capo nationals that year. And it was huge. It was, Dwayne Johnson lifted, totaled 900.
Wow.
Yeah, not raw. He wore a squat suit, no deadlift suit, and he might have worn a single-ply bench shirt. Yeah. But he totaled 900.
What did he weigh back then?
Same. Actually, I think he was 160.
He was 120.
He was 160 something, I think.
I was looking at his
from memory.
Derek Boyer totaled 880 at that meet without even reps, just a belt. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so we went to Worlds. We travelled all the way to Idaho, and we got there. And Max had 1 boy in his class to beat. So he had 6 at the nationals, 1 at the Worlds, and there was, I think from memory, there was 78 lifters at Worlds, WPC Worlds in Idaho. Yeah. And I was talking to a guy called Sean Cattell, and he had some ideas, and I said to him, this is all wrong. We shouldn't have to travel half around the world to beat 1 kid. Max is going to go back now and say he won Worlds. So I came back and I identified the issues, which was the age divisions, masters, juniors, teens, and too many weight classes. So I got the results from the Capo Nationals that had just happened. And I was playing with weight classes in my head, and I was going through the results, and I kept saying if we had an 80 class, or if we had a 70, we had this. And I kept playing with them until I got an even balance of strength in each weight class. And that's how I ended up with the 4 weight classes. Right. How we ended up with 80, 95, 110, and then 110 plus. Yeah. Because there was no point having anything after 110 plus, because the 110 guys were stronger than the 125 guys. Yeah. So we just had the 4 weight classes. Yeah. So I thought, I wonder if this is going to work. And the women, there wasn't enough women in powerlifting. Yeah. Nina's first nationals, there were 12 girls competing. Yeah. That was it, through all the weight classes. So girls were just on formula. So I decided to hold the very first ProRaw, and it was in the Dolphins club rooms. Okay, and you see the old footage in the lockers with the players' numbers are on the back. And I got the support that I was hoping to get, and the sponsor didn't come through, so now I was $4,000 poorer, and that was good because it was $4,000 I didn't need anyway. I didn't have it, so I didn't need it. So we did that comp, and then there was a comp called people have forgotten about this, ProRaw Powerlifting Rep Challenge. No one remembers that, so we got sponsorship for that coincidentally because the sponsor wanted to promote CrossFit. Yeah. So Amy Draker, who represented Australia at Worlds in CrossFit, she came across and did that. Now what a lot of people don't know is that comp was, I can't remember, it was yet to do body weight stuff for reps and different percentages for men and women. Max tested that a week before, and he did a score that nobody was going to get near. He was going to win the money, and he didn't think it looked right because we got this sponsorship money. It's going to look like, hey, we've tailored this event for Max, which is not what we did, right? Yeah. So Max pulled out, and the winning score was about half what he did. It just shows you what a good kid he is, because he could have just taken the money, but he said it looks wrong if I go and do this, because he was so elite at fitness back then. Let's all laugh for a minute. And the Olympic lifts, so it had some powerlifting movements, some kettlebell movements, and some Olympic lifts. Right. And he was elite at all that stuff. He was phenomenal, right? But it wasn't done for that. It was actually done to help Amy Draker, because we wanted to get some CrossFit people involved. And then that was a success. That was at the Dolphins club rooms. Then we had ProRaw 2 at the Frankston Arts Centre, and then ProRaw 3 was when EMAT came across to the Frankston Arts Centre. Okay. So yeah, and we're going back there for nationals because it's a great place, the Arts Centre, and big dogs obviously. Yeah. But so that's I did powerlifting was an accident. How we got into powerlifting, it wasn't what I always knew that squat, bench, and deadlift and the overhead were the best movements. Yeah. But I didn't like, because remember there was no Raw when I opened PTC. Raw didn't exist. Yeah. So it was only equipped. So not only were they using low bar and sumo and wearing wraps, and they were wearing suits, multiply suits as well, which is why I denounced it, because that was everything we went against. And the reason I didn't like belts and wrist wraps and knee wraps was I lifted weights for football and I couldn't wear that stuff on the footy field. Yeah. So that was my mentality from when I was a young kid. Yeah. That's why I've never worn a belt, worn knee wraps or wrist wraps, never, because I had to play footy.
The garage gym was always about strength and conditioning.
Yeah, that's all it was.
For sport.
Yep.
And a lot of the clients that came through were footy players.
Yeah, we had a lot of everything, yeah.
Or basketball. Or
Yep,
whatever.
a lot of basketball teams.
Yeah.
Sean Gallagher used to bring his basketball team kids to train in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you moved to the Dolphins club rooms, a big part of that was because you were doing the strength and conditioning for the club.
And they gave us over triple the space. We had 30 square metres in the garage. They gave us 100 square metres for free.
Yeah.
But we had to, so the deal was that we coached the footballers as well as our clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We only lasted a year because the footballers didn't want to lift weights. We had 2 boys drafted in the AFL. Hibbo's going all right at Melbourne.
Very well.
Could have used him at Essendon if he'd stayed. So we had 2 boys drafted.
Yeah.
But after a year, I said to Max, the footballers don't want to lift weights.
Yeah.
So we went and found the Sky Road place where E-Mate found
So
me.
how many square metres was Sky Road?
120.
And HQ's now
550.
HQ's now 550. And how many PTCs are there across the country?
11.
11. Okay. And where are they? What's the
4 in
breakdown?
Victoria,
Yeah.
1 in Perth, 1 in South Australia,
One in Brisbane.
2 in Queens, 3 in Queensland,
Yeah.
and is it 3 or 2 in New South Wales? There's Macarthur and PTC Sydney.
Okay.
Actually got a call about a new one up on the north coast in Sydney today,
Yeah.
but that's not about what this show's about.
Cool.